Unlike most horror movie antagonists, John Kramer, better known as Jigsaw, had a very uneventful childhood. No abuse or trauma to speak of. So then what brought him to do this? This? Or even this? Today we'll be taking a look at Jigsaw's twisted life philosophy, as well as why he plans elaborate deadly traps to torture his victims. Hello everybody, you're watching Tyler Soap, and this is Diagnosing Jigsaw from the Saw movie franchise. John Kramer's transformation into Jigsaw all begins with a series of events leading him into a downward spiral of depression. As an adult, John became a successful civil engineer and married the love of his life, Jill Tuck. Jill ran a recovery clinic for drug and alcohol addicts with the motto "Cherish your life" as a philosophy. It is after Jill became pregnant with the couple's child that things took a turn for the worst. The reckless actions of one of Jill's patients caused her to miscarry. John had some difficulty forgiving and letting go, which led to the couple's divorce. According to John, he did attempt to return to his normal state of mind, but his efforts towards recovery were short-lived because during a routine medical exam, he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of colon cancer and a brain tumor. He was told he would likely not have long to live. Shortly thereafter, John became more depressed than ever before, and he attempted suicide by driving his vehicle off a cliff. After surviving the attempt, John stated that he could see more clearly, and he went about dedicating the rest of his time on Earth toward a singular goal: healing those who take life for granted. It is at that very moment that John Kramer became Jigsaw. Now, Jigsaw has a lot more underlying issues. As you all know, in order to heal those who take life for granted, Jigsaw kidnaps them, then proceeds to place them into deadly situations and traps. The worst part of it all is that Jigsaw truly believes he has never killed anyone. According to him, everyone who has died in his games has had a fair chance of survival. This demonstrates that Jigsaw has a god complex. By that, I mean he takes it upon himself to decide whether or not people take life for granted and if they deserve to be a part of his twisted games. Yes, the odd time he'll kidnap a real crook like in Saw 6 when he sets a series of traps for insurance executive William Easton, who often financially screwed people over, for lack of a better term.
And if you go outside the system and seek out this treatment, which has been deemed ineffective, you will be in breach of policy and you will be dropped from coverage completely.
But other times, his logic is just flawed. Like in the original Saw, when one of his victims, Zepp, who is actually someone seen helping out at a hospital, befriending patients, and speaking up for them when the medical staff dehumanizes them. Now, where did Jigsaw get the idea that Zepp takes life for granted out of all of that? I don't know, seems to me like Jigsaw just abandoned his whole shtick in the very first movie of the series. Jigsaw playing God demonstrates that he's bordering on narcissistic personality disorder. I say bordering because he's not necessarily narcissistic about himself, but more so in his belief that he has to go to such lengths to teach people the value of life when his logic is severely flawed. Next, Jigsaw is a complete sadist. Although he claims that what he's doing is for a greater good, he finds great pleasure in cruelty and the suffering of others. Jigsaw is not a savior by any means. He has simply honed his rage and revenge fantasies into the creation of deadly puzzles for his victims to escape. Most of the time, he is observing his games in delight, and occasionally he taunts and terrifies his helpless subjects to heighten their fear. He also demonstrates many psychopathic traits such as coldness, callousness, grandiosity, and a notable lack of empathy. His high levels of psychopathy and sadism are the contributing factors to his antisocial personality disorder, which by definition is a mental condition in which a person has a long-term pattern of manipulating, exploiting, or violating the rights of others. John Kramer was just a regular guy, until depression turned into helplessness, helplessness turned into rage, and rage turned into twisted, violent fantasies of torture. So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my diagnosis of Jigsaw because I'm a huge Saw fan. I've diagnosed many other cool characters, so make sure to check out some of my other diagnosis videos if you're a horror fan or just a movie fan in general. Also, if you like this type of content, subscribe to my channel by clicking the channel icon on the screen right now. Thanks, guys.